So just raise your hand in front of your camera or wave, use a little reaction if you're currently in a dental hygiene program. Okay, it's a handful, awesome. And then I have a couple that haven't started hygiene school yet, but are looking forward, right? And then, you guys found the thumbs, that's awesome. And then how many actual practicing? How many have graduated their associate's program and are practicing? Okay, cool, awesome. You got some professionals in here too, awesome. Good, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start our open house. Welcome everyone. I'm going to be sharing my screen, so hopefully you'll be able to see some slides from my PowerPoint presentation, and let me know if you can't see it. And we are recording, right, Lise? Yep, I can see my little recording. Okay, so hopefully you're seeing a light blue slide that says degree completion, right? And Lisa, yep. You can feel free to holler at me at any time if the technology goes awry. Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first University of Michigan Dental Hygiene Degree Completion Virtual Open House. Woohoo! I'm so excited that you've decided to join us tonight for our first open house. Tonight we're going to be sharing some basic information with you, such as what our admission criteria look like and what our application process looks like. And that information is all very straightforward. It's on our website too. You want to look at it for future reference. So we will definitely touch on those issues tonight. I know those were important features that you identified in your Google form that you filled out to register. So I'll try and touch on all those features that were asked for more information. But what we'd like to spend a majority of our time with you tonight talking about are those features, and also the features that really we think sets our program apart from other programs. And to do that, you'll hear from me, but I've also brought in some special guests for you that I think will help you learn about the value and the accessibility of a University of Michigan education. So we're happy tonight to be joined by a senior administrator for the University of Michigan Office of Financial Aid, who will share information on applying for and receiving financial aid at U of M. Many of our students have been pleasantly surprised by the amount of financial aid that U of M was able to offer them. So stay tuned for that. I think that'll be a very informative session. We're also going to be joined tonight by two of our alumni who will share their experiences and perspectives from their time in the program and since graduating. We have set aside some time tonight at the end of each presentation and at the end of the open house to open up the conversation for some Q&A session with tonight's guest speakers. During the presentations, we encourage you to use the chat box feature in Zoom while the speakers are talking to ask questions as they come up. We'll monitor the chat box, and once the speaker's done presenting, we'll try to flag a few of those questions and bubble those up to the speakers. So the slide deck for tonight's presentation and hopefully the video recording will both be linked on the degree completion webpage next week. And as much as I would like to spend the whole evening talking about all the features and the wonderful things about this program, I just can't fit it all into a short presentation. So the PowerPoint will actually have additional information that we just won't have time to cover tonight in the open house. So I encourage you to come back next week and view those links for some additional information. Great, so let's get started with some introductions. I think most of you realize or have met me before. My name is Jennifer Cullen. I am the director of the Degree Completion Program here at the university, and I'm also a clinical lecturer in the Division of Dental Hygiene. I graduated from Ferris State's Associate's Dental Hygiene Program in 1998, and after temping in clinical practice in Southeast Michigan for about a year, I found my private practice home here in Ann Arbor, and I was there for about 10 years. I completed the University of Michigan's Degree Completion e-learning program in 2012, and I earned my Master's in Public Health from Benedictine University's online program in 2015. I started full-time here at the university as the director of the program in late 2016. So I've been at it for a little while. So you've noticed I have another special guest here tonight. First of all, I have the pleasure of being joined by my colleague, Lisa Dodge. Lisa has been with the U of M Division of Dental Hygiene since 1998. She assists our students and our faculty in all three of our dental hygiene programs. And in fact, Lisa has received many forms of recognition for her contributions to the division and the university, including the U of M Spirit of Excellence Award for outstanding service to the university and the Candace Johnson Award for staff excellence. I think the only thing that would ever pull Lisa and I away from our role here with the University of Michigan Division of Dental Hygiene is possibly a job offer to teach at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. And I think Lisa just fed right in, right, to that little comment with her backdrop this evening, if you didn't see it earlier. She had the Hogwarts Castle as her background. All right, so let's dive in. So I imagine if you're joining our open house that you may have at least a sense of what we mean when we talk about degree completion for dental hygiene. But let's just clarify what degree completion means and what it doesn't mean. So degree completion is an opportunity for licensed dental hygienists who have completed their associate's degree to continue their academic journey in order to complete the remaining credits for a baccalaureate degree. Often this is a bachelor in dental hygiene, but not always. It's important to understand that the completion of a bachelor's degree for dental hygienists does not change the scope of our license or the scope of our practice. However, combining our RDH license with a bachelor's degree does allow us to make the most out of our scope of practice. So degree completion programs build on the academic credits you already have completed in your associate's program to create the most straightforward path to higher education and to advanced career opportunities. Dental hygiene bachelor degree completion programs should be preparing you to meet the changing needs of your patients, the public, the healthcare system, but also help you really grow personally and professionally as you explore all these roles available to you in this wonderful profession. So let's talk a little bit more about making the most out of your RDH license. So a career in dental hygiene actually has more to offer you than you may even be aware of right now. So you're focused on clinical practice. And while that is the foundation of our profession, it really is only just the beginning for dental hygienists. We know from our research that graduates of bachelor degree programs are more likely than graduates of associate degree programs to have non-private practice positions. So things like teaching, research, administration, or public health. In order to access those positions in today's job market and the healthcare landscape, having a bachelor's degree will be very important. Degree completion programs provide opportunities for students to spend additional time on advanced coursework in non-clinical experiences in order to give students the space to increase their depth and breadth of knowledge. So what does that look like? So for a start, degree completion is a path to more career opportunities. We're no longer an auxiliary of the dental team. Dental hygienists are primary care providers. There are job opportunities in addition to clinical practice that are opening up for dental hygienists every day. Dental hygienists are becoming important and respected members of the healthcare team. We can no longer sit in our pristine private practices and think that we're fulfilling our professional responsibility to care for the public. A bachelor's degree in dental hygiene will take you deeper into your understanding and practice of evidence-based decision-making beyond clinical care. And as we know, there is a demand for dental hygiene faculty. It's up to us as a profession to train the next generation of dental hygienists. And as we know, there's a trend in dental hygiene faculty retiring. So that creates a demand for hygienists with the educational background to fill those positions. And now more than ever, we also need faculty who have education and experience in online and remote learning. And advocacy. So you may not have had a lot of experience with this yet in these early years of your career, but the word advocacy gets talked about in a lot of different ways. Advocacy for our patients, for health policies, for vulnerable groups, for access to care. So advancing your education will position you better to be an advocate for those issues that matter most to you. And then grad school, right? No matter what area of study you choose, if you plan to get a master's degree, you're going to need to start with a bachelor's degree. And degree completion is the quickest path for you to get to that bachelor's degree. So it's great to have a broader knowledge and a passion for our profession, right? But we need to know what those jobs look like. And I think that's a very important issue to address with prospective students, because it's nice to talk about all the, the fancy things that we can learn from a high education, but we all need to work. We all need to be able to apply that to real world opportunities. So we wanted to know what kinds of jobs our alumni were finding when they left the program. So we surveyed them 2 years after they graduated to see what they were doing and what impact the program had had on them. And we've been doing that survey for 10 years now. So we have quite a body of data that we can look at to see what our students are doing. And we found out that 82% of those alumni reported that they had expanded career opportunities. Let's take a closer look at what they meant by that. So it's kind of a busy graph, but down the left side, you see these roles, right? So these are the other roles. There's clinician, dental hygiene teacher, student, public health, right? So the blue bars are what the alumni were doing before the program, and the red bars are what the alumni were doing 2 years after the program. So you can see the majority of our alumni reported that they still practiced at least some part of their week. And this may be in combination with other jobs. So at least some part of their week they spent in clinical practice. So you'll also notice that there was a significant increase in the number of alumni who are now spending some part of their week teaching. So that was a huge shift from before to after. Our alumni report that they're actually still students 2 years after the program, and that's interesting because nearly 30% of them reported that they're still students, and so those are our alumni who have gone on to grad school. And you can see in the public health field, this includes both clinical and administrative positions. Often these are in like federally qualified health centers or school-based programs. They're finding jobs in mobile dental units, community-based clinics, the PA 161 direct access model. So it's kind of a broad umbrella for public health, but those are some of the areas that they're finding jobs. Our students are also using, or like 20% of our alumni are using their bachelor's degree as a launch pad to other careers outside of dental hygiene. So they're using their skills that they've learned in the degree completion program to perform these other jobs. So something to keep in mind. Okay, so, and I'm moving through these pretty quickly because we have a lot of information to cover tonight, and I don't want to, bleed into my guest speaker's time. So I talked a little bit about why hygienists should advance their education beyond their associate's degree, and what kind of work that actually can translate into for you. So I want to talk a little bit now about what degree completion program can help you do that and what college might best get you there. So we talk about this Michigan difference, and I know lots of people, if you're from Michigan, you've heard this ad phrase, right? But it's so much more than an ad campaign. The Michigan difference truly is the ethos by which our students, our faculty, our alumni live and work every day. The Michigan difference really captures the remarkable capability of the university to make a difference for our students, for our state, for our society. It is our ability to make an authentic impact on our students in a way that not only grows what they bring to the classroom, but also often develops in them things that they didn't even know were there. So let's talk a little bit more specifically about some of the unique features of a Michigan education. Real quickly, you may not know, but the University of Michigan is home to the #1 dental school in the US. We've had that honor for several years now. And to be clear, this is not just an honor bestowed on our DDS program and their faculty. The U of M Dental School actually has 5 specialty areas, including the Division of Dental Hygiene. So in addition to the pre-doc program. So this award considers the school as a whole in terms of education, innovation, research, service. And so it really isn't just limited to the dental students. This is really a unit-wide award. Nearly half the dentists in Michigan are U of M graduates. I didn't know this before I took over this program, but that's true. So think about that in the terms of the likelihood that you're going to walk into an office one day looking for employment, and the dentist that you're applying for or to a job for may be a graduate from U of M. The University of Michigan is known for its educational programs. Hiring managers know that U of M graduates are well educated, that they're well prepared for responsibilities of their new career. The resources for students here at U of M are amazing. Even in the Division of Dental Hygiene, we have extensive resources available to students to help them be successful. We have specific academic support for our degree completion students. We have a writing center that we partner with to help tutor our students. The financial aid at U of M is actually better than one might think. And then the physical and mental health support, even for our online students, I think is remarkable for this institution as well. We take that stuff really seriously. The personal attention that you get at U of M, you may not know this about a very large institution, but at U of M, we really concentrate on building relationships with our students. It's a very important piece of our service, and you're never just a number here at U of M. So as a U of M degree holder, you're going to be joining one of the world's largest living alumni bodies with over 500,000 graduates in more than 100 countries around the world. So 9,000 of those alumni are School of Dentistry alumni. So it's a pretty cool place. So let's drill down a little bit more even to the unit itself. So the e-learning program. So an important example of what I think makes our program stand out among others, and one of the things about this program that I'm the most proud of are our faculty. These faculty are all licensed dental hygienists, and they are leaders in their fields. They hold positions in national and state level organizations. They are published authors, researchers in diverse areas of study. I encourage you to go to the dental school's website and search up in the directory these faculty that by name, because all of the faculty and staff in our dental school have a little bio, and you can read more about their specific interests and the roles that they play here at the university. And these are also great examples of the different kinds of careers you can have in dental hygiene. You look like we're under the umbrella of academia, that we're just teaching, but actually this is kind of a great place to be if you want to do other things as well, because while our teaching is our day job, we get the opportunity here because of the resources here to actually explore and do research in areas that we're passionate about. I mean, I have a degree in public health, so this is a wonderful environment for me to be in to really explore public health focused oral health issues. And so this has been a great fit for me. And then I get to share that passion with the next generation. So you'll find the e-learning faculty actively and meaningfully engaged in your courses. In fact, the faculty presence is kind of a hallmark of the e-learning program. I did my graduate work online as well, and there was a noticeable inconsistency in faculty involvement, and it matters. It really does. Right, so let's get down a little bit even more granular into some of the structure of this particular degree completion program. So this table includes the e-learning courses at a glance. So in the e-learning program, students register for 2 classes every semester. At U of M, a semester is 15 weeks, okay? So this gives you 6 credits each semester. So each class is 3 credits, you get 6 credits a semester. However, the courses are structured so that you only take 1 class at a time. So in each class is 7 weeks. And then there's a 1 week break in between. So students take the same courses with their cohort in a set order. And this structure actually goes very quickly. The time flies when you're in this program. So students will tell us that they average about 15 to 20 hours per week on coursework, to kind of tell you what that time commitment looks like. And that's not all crammed into a couple of days. That is spread out so that they're doing a little bit each day of the week. The program is designed to allow students to balance their education with their work and their personal responsibilities. That's an inherent feature of our program that was built in from the beginning. It is designed for the professional working hygienist. You can see that there are familiar sounding topics here in this course list, but I assure you, you have not taken these subjects at the level that you will with us. You have seen these subjects through the lens of clinical practice, I'm sure, but advancing your education will help you see these key subjects through all the roles of the dental hygienist. The e-learning program is also a program, just like your associate's program is. It's organized into a series of courses that build on each other. And it's not just a bunch of disconnected general ed classes taken in any order. And that's important as you go and you're exploring other degree completion programs, other opportunities. Be thinking about the way things are structured, because that matters to your learning and your end experience. So at some institutions, degree completion programs, students receive no additional training in their major area of study. They may take classes in subjects like management or liberal arts classes or other general ed, but they're not specific to dental hygiene. And those courses are also not taught by dental hygienists. So those are important things to be thinking about as you're considering other programs. So in addition to broadening your knowledge, you're going to learn real skill sets in this program. As educators and clinicians, your faculty know how important the authentic application of knowledge is, not just to the mastery of a skill, but to that transformation of the student. So we believe that relevance is what drives learning. And if you're evaluating different degree completion programs, I strongly encourage you to ask administrators of those programs about the real-world opportunities that they offer. What do their students get to do in the program in addition to being in an online discussion or handing in assignments? What else do they get to do? So the best way to show you, I think, what this looks like at U of M is with a few pictures. So I pulled a few pictures from my records of our students applying what they're learning in the online classroom to a real world activity or experience as part of their education here at U of M. So as part of their coursework, students participate in a student teaching practicum during the second year of the program. And during this course, students spend 1 day a week shadowing a faculty member in a clinic or a lab. You can partner with your local dental hygiene program, or you can come to U of M. So these two students are here at the university's entry-level program. Farah is on the left, Chelsea's on the right, and they're working with our entry-level students during their student teaching experience. So for those of you currently in dental hygiene school in Michigan, you may see some of our students come through your program in January and February, or maybe you've seen them in the past. So if you've had a community oral health course, you know that oral health care can no longer take place in the silo of the private practice setting. We have to get out of our clinical practice. Advancing your education at U of M will help you see opportunities to share your expertise in non-traditional environments. And even during a pandemic, my e-learning students carried on with their hands-on learning and commitment to the communities they partnered with for their community projects. They created contactless educational mediums that included custom webinars for nurse aides, websites for kids and parents, a socially distanced Q&A at a homeless shelter. They were very creative in adapting their programs in the time of COVID. So in the e-learning program, you'll have the opportunity to partner with a real agency in your community, in your home, in your backyard, to design, build, and implement a robust oral health promotion program. And I don't want you to be intimidated by the sound of that. It's actually something that we walk you through every step of the way. The program is structured so that students don't have to panic. They don't have to feel that they can't achieve what we want them to achieve. We walk them through every step. And that's part of the experience at U of M. So sometimes the idea of research is a little scary for undergrads. Not really sure how to approach research. It seems kind of intimidating. They don't really know what it looks like. But I assure you, this does not have to be boring or intimidating. Research is really an opportunity to explore ideas and subjects that you're passionate about. And so, yeah, our students do research here, and we're here to guide you and mentor students through the process. So, you know, pictures of poster presentations really aren't that exciting. I get that. It's hard to demonstrate what the students' research is all about while they're standing in front of this poster. So let me give you a little perspective here. On the left is my student, Ashley. And she looks like she's standing in front of a poster with a lot of words and some gnarly pictures of teeth. But what you need to know is actually, Ashley's from the Flint area, and she did her community project with us at the Flint Boys and Girls Club. And this was around the time of the Flint water crisis. And so when it came time to develop her senior capstone project, she expressed concern to us that the families that she met at the club weren't drinking the city water, obviously, and so they weren't getting that benefit of the municipal fluoride. And so we constructed a project for her, working with some of the researchers here at U of M that were working on silver diamine fluoride research. And they said to her, you know, we're finding that, and particularly they were working with a population in the Flint area as it happened, that practitioners are not comfortable using SDF. And so we're going to make these recommendations on using it, but practitioners haven't had the training yet. This was still when it was like in early days of it, and so they didn't know how to bill for it, didn't know how to apply it. And so Ashley created this as part of her research project. She created instructional materials for practitioners, talked about the codes for billing, what materials to buy, where to buy it from, how to apply it, that kind of thing. So it was a really insightful project for her. And then on the right is Colleen, and Colleen was one of our on-campus students, and her extended family had been impacted by the opioid crisis, and she wanted to know what kind of research she could do around that subject for her senior research project. And so we were able to have her access the schools, the University of Michigan's dental schools, electronic health record data on opioid prescriptions written by our providers. And so she looked at about 5 years worth of prescription data and reported out trends on what prescriptions were going out, who they were going to, what they were being prescribed for. And she was able to show that we actually had a significant decrease in the number of opioid prescriptions that were leaving our clinics. And so that's really meaningful when you're talking about a clinic that serves 36,000 unique patients a year. That's a big deal. So if we can decrease the number of opioids going out of our clinics, that's kind of important to know. And so she actually won a national award for that project. So again, research takes many forms. It's not all clinical research, it's not all test tubes and petri dishes. It can be population research. It can be retrospective data research. And so it's really an opportunity. It's an opportunity for students to explore things that they're passionate about. And so whether you're an online student or an on-campus student, there are opportunities here at U of M that not every college can offer their students. So let's talk a little bit more about what the admission requirements look like as we wrap up. The first two, obviously, pretty easy to meet those requirements, right? You're going to have graduated, if you haven't already, from a CODA accredited dental hygiene program. You're going to be a licensed hygienist in the US. I put the GPA in there. This is an average GPA of our incoming student. Students ask about minimum GPA requirements all the time, so we put this out there. Know that we look for more than just the number. We look for minimal classes withdrawn and dropped. We look for the rigor of courses taken in relation to basic sciences or writing. So we're looking at a lot when we look at your transcripts. We're not just looking at your GPA. So don't feel like that's a deal breaker if you're not quite at a 3.2. So if English is your second language, obviously we need to take a TOEFL or a MELAB. Statistics, right? So don't freak out about stats. I have over 100 alumni plus my currently enrolled students who pass statistics, and you can too. If you're currently in dental hygiene school, please consult your program director before you enroll in any additional classes if you haven't had stats yet. You don't want to overburden yourself if you are trying to study for boards this spring. The last thing I want you to do is to compromise anything that might go into taking your boards. If you're a first-year dental hygiene student, stats can often be taken in the summer between first and second year. And if you've already graduated, that's fine too. We can get you a stats class at your local community college. But I strongly recommend that you check with me to confirm that the course you're thinking of taking does transfer to U of M. So, and I can happily do that for you, happily work with you to pick the right course. You need a C or better to pass any stats class, and you need to pass that stats class by the end of the July of the year that you're enrolling in the program. So if you're wanting to start in 2021, you got to have stats done by the end of this July. Okay, so there's time, plenty of time. All right, so students need to take 84 credits. You need to bring 84 credits with you to U of M. This is broken down into 16 dental hygiene credits and 24 general education credits. And so we'll talk a little bit about how I determine that in the next slide. So at U of M, you're going to do 36 credits in-house. And so we're going to add that to the 84 to get you the 120, which is the standard number of credits for any bachelor's degree. So 36 here in-house. Okay, so it is now December. So you need to be thinking about a few tasks to complete before February 1st. So the very first thing that I recommend students do is to have their transcripts evaluated by me. So what you can do is send me your unofficial transcripts from all the colleges you've attended, and I will take a look at those to see if we can come up with the 84 credits that you need to transfer to U of M. And if you don't have the 84, that's fine. I'll work with you. We'll talk about what that might look like, how you might get those extra credits. So the first thing we can do is just take a look to see what you have, where you're starting with. So these can be PDFs of your transcripts, or they can be screenshots, as long as they're clear and complete. Don't make me work too hard to read them. That's fine. Don't pay for your official transcripts just yet. Just give me some unofficial ones. That's fine. If you are a student, like for example, if you're a student and you're doing your hygiene program at Lansing Community College, but you have college credits at maybe Spring Arbor or Michigan State, I need those transcripts too, because I often have to cobble together courses from the various institutions in order to get to that 84. So just because you're at Lansing, don't just send me the Lansing one, because it's going to show you have transfer credits on there. So I'm going to need to see all of those. So once I evaluate those transcripts, then we set up a time to chat on the phone where we can go over the results, and we can talk about your goals for degree completion and what your next steps will be. Okay, so my email is all over the place. You can go to the degree completion website to find it. It's here in this PowerPoint. I think you all got emails from me for this meeting, so everybody has my email. Just send them to me as an attachment. So if you meet the eligibility requirements, then we move on to the actual application process. And so I'll provide you then with the resources to successfully access and complete the common application. And this is an online application. It's very common among universities. Lots of them use it. So it's a very student-friendly application, very easy to use. And I have a help doc that walks you through different things you need to click on that are specific to our program. There's some essays in there. We'll talk about those during the phone call. But it's pretty straightforward application. So once that application is submitted, then we move on to phase 2, which consists of just some simple, basic, like computer skill check assessments and an online learning readiness assessment. So students today don't usually have too many problems with those. They're all pretty tech savvy. And then finally, you do an interview with me. It's a phone interview. You don't have to come to Ann Arbor. We do it on the phone. And that's very straightforward as well. When all those pieces are complete, I present your application package to the admissions committee. It's that simple. So it's not a complicated process. There are a few steps though, and so it does take some time to get through those steps, but I'm here to walk you through those. You're never in it alone. I will, communicate with you as much as you communicate with me to get you through the process. So it really shouldn't be intimidating for you. So before we move on to the next presentation, I always like to encourage students to follow us on Facebook, not because I'm trying to promote our own, but even if you're not a fan of U of M, you're a dental hygienist. So you should be following the U of M Facebook page, because you'll be getting updates on professional events and news that are relevant to dental hygiene. So even if you don't come to U of M, I would recommend you still follow it. The dental hygiene webpage is another great resource for information about our program. And in particular, there's a really neat feature there. You see that orange rectangle. We do a thing called dental hygiene profiles. And in that page, you'll find little bios on a number of e-learning alumni, as well as our e-learning faculty, to learn a little bit more about their personal experiences and perspectives. So great resource. Okay, so I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a second, because I want to see, I see Kelly, great, awesome. Let me share one more time, because I want to introduce Kelly.
Jennifer, before you move on,
yeah,
we do have a question.
I do have a question. Great.
How many students are accepted?
Yep, so that's a great question. So each cohort, we look for about 10. I can take plus or minus, but we find 10 is just a really good fit for a nice community and the breadth of faculty that we have to handle those courses. So yeah. Great. Okay, so let me go back to my screen one more time, because I want to introduce Ms. Robinson. All right. So yay, so tonight we are so excited to be actually joined by a real life financial aid advisor. I don't usually get to take this person along with me to my tours to all the different dental hygiene schools when I go. So I'm really excited that in this virtual environment, I'm able to include content from our financial aid support. So this is Kelly Robson. She is the Senior Financial Administrator for Distance Education in the Office of Financial Aid. Great, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, Kelly, so if you, do you wanna share yours?
Perfect, yes.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I am Kelly Robeson. As she stated, let me get this up here. I am the, let's see here. Can you see my screen? I just wanna verify.
We sure can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. I am the Senior Financial Aid Administrator for Distance Education. So I would be the person for the e-learning dental hygiene students to contact with any questions. I just wanted today to give you a brief discussion topics of what we can offer our e-learning dental hygiene students. So I'm going to start with what is financial aid, the college costs, financial aid eligibility, types of financial aid, applying for financial aid at the University of Michigan, and finish it off with special circumstances. So let's start with what is financial aid. Put simply, it's money used to pay for college. So that's a simple explanation. I wish my job was that easy. What exactly does financial aid cover? So with financial aid, we don't just cover the tuition and fees, which is considered a billable direct cost. That's what you would see that you'd have to pay directly to University of Michigan, but we can also cover indirect costs. So these are things that you would pay out of pocket for housing, meals, book supplies, personal miscellaneous expenses. So I'm going to share with you here the cost of attendance that we use for figuring out your financial aid. I want to just state this is per semester. So you would times this by 3 to get a full year, times it by 6 to kind of get an idea of what the full program would be. So this is the in-state student's cost of attendance. So as I said, the billable part would be the tuition and fees. So that's roughly about $5,000 per semester. I know we do have some out-of-state students that are attending the presentation as well. So I did want to cover just quickly what that tuition and fees would be for an out-of-state student. It's roughly about $10,000 more per semester for an out-of-state student than it is for an in-state student. And we still do include the room and board, book supplies, personal miscellaneous into that cost of attendance. This cost of attendance examples is for this current academic year. I don't have those costs for next year yet. And this is based on the 6 credit hours per semester that you would be enrolled in. So we do provide your financial aid based on 6 credits and not based on full time, like a lot of other students will get. I wanted to give you 3 different examples for in-state students of what your financial aid could be. And I pulled these from 3 students that we have currently in the program. The first example, the student received 3 different grants. So when you complete your financial aid applications, for the FAFSA, you'll see the expected family contribution. If your expected family contribution is 0, it's calculated at 0 on the FAFSA, this is an example of what your financial aid can look like. So per semester, you would get roughly $6,477 in 2 federal grants and a University of Michigan grant. Another example, the student has a $2,318 EFC, and they are receiving 2 grants. And again, per semester, they get the Pell Grant and University of Michigan grant. My third example has a little bit higher of an expected family contribution, but they're still receiving University of Michigan grant, and the expected family contributions, $5,883. So what are your costs? What are your out-of-pocket costs? Because that is the big question when you want to attend a program. So in these 3 examples that I just gave for in-state residents, your out-of-pocket per semester If you were a zero expected family contribution, you'd actually be receiving a refund of $1,500 per semester. If your EFC was $2,318, it's about $700 per semester. And the example of the $5,883, it's about $1,500 per semester. So for the last one, you would be looking at roughly about $4,500 per academic year, or $9,000 for the entire program that you'd have to pay the University of Michigan. Now, some students are probably saying, I don't have that amount of money to pay out of pocket. Well, there are other types of financial aid that you can also receive. There's two different types. There's free money, which we just talked about, the grants, and there's borrowed money. So let's start with the free money. There, on top of grants, there are scholarships that you can receive. Now, these are often thought of as merit scholarships, but not all scholarships are merit scholarships. They can be based on skills or service. They could come from an organization or within the University of Michigan. They may require that you apply for financial aid by completing the FAFSA. They may not. It's really up to each individual organization that's providing that scholarship. These would require an application that you would complete. The other one was the grants that I explained in my examples. These are need-based, so you would have to apply for financial aid. The FAFSA is one application, and then we also have the CSS profile, which is our second application for financial aid, and I'll go over that in a little bit. Now for the borrowed money. Oh, I'm sorry, I have examples of scholarships here. So these are some examples of scholarships that some of the students in this program have received. Jennifer was nice enough to share these with me, so I don't know much information about them, but these are some of the scholarships that you can apply for. And I'm sure Jennifer has more information on those if you have any questions.
Yep, absolutely.
So now for the borrowed money. This is your loans. These are federal loans. And I suggest students only borrow what you need. So what you can't pay towards that tuition, if you need help with your books, if you need help with your housing, just really what you need. So thinking smart and borrowing, not add to debt and secure your credit for your future. The repayment for these starts after graduation. Now, by completing the FAFSA, you may qualify for one of these loans or both of these loans. There is a subsidized direct loan and an unsubsidized direct loan. They both don't start repayment until after you graduate. This is a student loan. The difference is for the subsidized loan, you don't start accruing that interest until you enter the repayment. With the unsubsidized loan, you start accruing that interest with day one. I know it's a little bit different right now because of the pandemic, so everything is in non-repayment, no interest right now, but in a normal world, that is how they work. Now I want to go over quickly how you apply for financial aid at the University of Michigan, because this can be a little bit different than other schools. As I mentioned before, we have two applications we use. We use the federal application, which is the FAFSA. This is completed every year. It's to qualify for federal loans and grants and some state funding. And then we have the CSS profile. This is through College Board's website. They do have a small fee to this, $25, but some students may qualify for a fee waiver when they get to that payment screen. So you may get that waived. This is for us to use for institutional grants and for some scholarships, and this is only completed once. I mentioned here our deadlines and our suggested filing timeframe. Both of these applications are open now for next year. If you are looking maybe not at this next year, but the following year, you may want to double check our website to see what our deadlines are for that year, because sometimes they can change. Quickly, I want to go over the difference between dependent versus independent student, because this is a really big question for some of our students. Now, I know this program has a lot of independent students, but everybody feels like they're an independent student if they're working, living on their own, and paying their own bills. So a dependent student would require your parents' information. What qualifies you as an independent student and not have that parents' information is if you're married, you're 24, both of your parents died after the age of 13, if you're a ward of the court, you have a dependent of your own, or if you're homeless. Lastly, I want to finish up with special circumstances. I know 2020 has been an awful year for many students and families out there, and income has been greatly impacted. If you're working within dental hygiene right now, you may have been furloughed, been without work for a period of time. So we do recognize that there are these special circumstances. This is an appeal process. It's not something that you can report on the FAFSA. This is something you would contact the Office of Financial Aid. You can contact me directly about if you've been admitted, and we can discuss what that process is for doing a reevaluation. I have listed there are other special circumstances students can have as well. But we do recognize that what is on the FAFSA is 2-year-old information is not usually the most accurate for a lot of students and families. Here's my contact information. I will be providing my presentation to Jennifer. She'll be posting it on the website. So you can feel free to contact me, email me directly. My email's there. I can set up a Zoom appointment with you, a phone call with you. I do have our general office information there. We're all working remotely, so it can be a little bit more challenging to reach me through that means. So I prefer if you would email me with questions. I know I didn't go over for out-of-state students examples of financial aid, so you certainly can feel free to contact me, and I can give you some examples based on your certain scenario and circumstance. And that is all. If there are any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Otherwise, you can email me directly. And thank you for your time tonight.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelly. Does anyone have any questions they want to, general questions that they have for Kelly while we have her? Nope, I'm not seeing any hands raising. Make sure I look at both screens here.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
Feel free to email me if you do have questions. Sometimes financial aid, you want to talk more one-on-one than in a group setting. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, and I can't tell you, Kelly, how lovely it was to have you here tonight. And thank you for really understanding our students and understanding the situations that they're in, and our profession too. Clearly, you've been paying attention. So,
absolutely,
so thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Problem. All right. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks.
Do it again. Oh, great. Good. All right. Okay, so I'd like to move on to our alumni presentation. So I'm going to share my screen again so that I can introduce our 2 lovely alumni who've joined us tonight, and then we'll talk a little bit with them about their experience in the program. So get ready. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. So our first alumni that's joining us tonight is Stephanie DeMoss. And Stephanie is from our class of 2016, the e-learning program. And so while Stephanie was in our program, she was recognized for her academic achievements with membership in the Dental Hygiene Honor Society called Sigma Phi Alpha, a new chapter, as well as she was recognized for her service to vulnerable populations with the U of M Ginsberg Center Service Corps. So Stephanie and her classmate also worked with faculty mentors to publish a paper in the International Journal of Evidence-Based Practice for Dental Hygienists, the assessment of dental hygienists' oral cancer screening techniques and referral patterns. So again, a unique research project that probably didn't feel too much like research. Stephanie continues to be active in her local ADHA and MDHA components, and she is currently working in a private practice in Plymouth. Shortly after her time in the e-learning program, Stephanie accepted a job with the St. Joe Hospital in Oakland, and so that's something specific I have asked Stephanie to come tonight and talk to us about. So welcome, Stephanie. So I'd also wanted to introduce our other alumni at this time and then come back for some questions with Stephanie. I'd like to introduce you to Michelle Spencer. who's also on our call tonight. Michelle is a 2017 alumni from the e-learning program, and Michelle was very busy while she was in the program, and she's been even busier since the program. She entered our program as a working mom, working part-time in private practice, raising 2 beautiful girls with her husband near White Lake, Michigan. And she even gave birth to her 3rd daughter during the 2nd year of her e-learning program. So in recognition of Michelle's academic achievements, she also was awarded a membership in the Dental Hygiene Honor Society of Sigma Phi Alpha, as well as she was recognized for her service to vulnerable populations as well with the Ginsberg Service Center Cord. Michelle worked with a faculty mentor also to publish a paper on treating the transgender patient in the Access magazine. So Michelle has been actively involved in the Michigan Dental Hygienists Association as well, and is currently president of the MDHA. Michelle just graduated this last spring with her master's in learning technology and design from Central, and she currently teaches full-time at Oakland Community College, so which is also where Stephanie teaches part-time. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, Stephanie. You're both from OCC. So I'm gonna just come back to the meeting here so I can see you guys. And hi, Stephanie and Michelle. Can you guys wave so we can see? Oh, there you are. Awesome. Okay, great. So Stephanie, I kind of want to start with you because I think the job you took at St. Joe there was really interesting, different role that hygienists can do. So I wondered if you could start with just giving us a little bit of a brief description of that job, what that job description was, and then I'll follow up with a little bit of questions around the experiences that you took to that.
Okay, so hi everyone. I am so excited you're here. I can truly say this is a wonderful program and this is where you want to be. But I'm going to talk a little bit about a cool opportunity that part of my degree completion, getting my Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene from U of M, I felt really led me to that position. It was a grant funded position. So what that means is usually places get a grant for a certain period of time for special research or a special position or things that they want to work with. And St. Joe's has a dental residency program similar to U of M and many other schools that have dental residency programs. But theirs is unique in that they do treat adults with special needs. And they were looking for a hygienist who could kind of bridge the gap between treating patients with special needs in the clinic and treating them under general anesthesia. So you would work in the operating room treating these patients. You would work with their caregivers. So important part of that you learn in the community program when you're creating your project for oral health promotion. Mine specifically dealt with treating adults with special needs at a daycare enrichment center and including toothbrushing at the enrichment center because they could go home and the caregivers maybe don't provide that treatment for them. So there's many opportunities you have in this program that will open several doors. Job description, the coolest part is I did clinically perform dental hygiene on the special needs patients. Also, we took regular patients. So I saw hospital employees. I saw patients who have been there for several years, children, adults, geriatric patients. Biggest thing was medically compromised patients. So a lot of patients came to the hospital because they couldn't be treated in a normal setting or felt comfortable. They also came to the hospital because they maybe were low income, no income, and the hospital took Medicaid and was able to offer Mercy support. So where they couldn't be necessarily taken care of in a traditional setting, they had that opportunity there. So I did dental hygiene. Also part of the job description, aside of special needs, is educating within the hospital. So there's a terrific opportunity in the hospital to reach out to the mother-baby unit and maybe work with new moms on how you would do oral care for your infant. Don't put them to bed with bottles. So you could educate the nurses there. Another factor I worked with was we did have a diabetes education program in the hospital. So I got to present every month, sometimes twice a month, sometimes once a month, to their diabetes education classes on the relationship between diabetes and periodontal disease, and how to properly take care of their teeth. I also got to work with oncology. So these patients going through chemo and they're medically compromised or on several medications, the nurses, understand they have oral health sores and they may be able to prescribe magic mouthwash, but it was important to educate them. And they actually took a grant money they got, took my advice for products and made bundles for cancer patients. So a lot of it was networking, building relationships, along with your dental hygiene job description. So every single class that we had in the program was a part of that entire job description. So because it was grant funded, it was only a 2-year program. I actually stayed 2.5 years before they weren't able to keep it. And the actual gentleman who created this position, he retired. So, but the good news is there are several hospitals that have taken an interest to this program. And I know McLaren is one of them. And there will be many more opportunities for you guys. And I can see this as an important field because, as we all know, oral health is very important to the entire body. So there are grant funded positions, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because I was terrified to do that. And I was like, a hospital seemed overwhelming to me, and they're huge, and there's people everywhere, and you got to walk to a big parking lot. But everywhere you look is opportunity and networking. And it's very fulfilling. So.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. That was really helpful. And so what Stephanie is trying to say too, that there were specific skill sets that she learned in the e-learning program that she was able to apply to that job. And so we looked at that course list, right? That had that list of courses there, and they're all pretty familiar subjects to you. But again, you see those courses through clinical practice. Stephanie was able to step outside of that lens and see those courses through all the other roles of the dental hygienist, and then apply that in a real world setting. So, and a lot of that, you've said to me before, Stephanie, what you think got you in the door was your community project, that you'd had this real life experience with the special need population and what you could be able to bring to that table for them.
Yes, I did leave out another part, which was I got to educate the dental residents. So I don't know, I know this because I've been in clinical practice several years, but most dentists don't know how to work alongside a hygienist because they get their DDS license. And the cool thing about U of M is the program is mingled with dentists and dental hygienists, whereas at OCC, it's a community college that the only focus is dental hygiene, which is also wonderful. But the cool thing is I did several slideshows for the residents on just how the dental hygiene process works, even talking about different instruments, going over special populations. So at St. Joe's Oakland, there's a very high Hispanic population. And one of the neat things that you'll get to do in community is you guys kind of teach each other about different communities. And so what my choice was, and this was prior to me getting this position, was the Hispanic population. And I learned so much about just how they view dentistry, how they even view timing, like for appointments. I mean, some people arrive late and they don't work on a clock like we do. Okay, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. They're not very time oriented like that, and so they can show up late. And the importance is just being respectful of their time. So there's many things that you will learn in community, which really helps there because it's a very high Hispanic population.
Great. Thank you, Stephanie. Any specific questions for Stephanie about her job there, or how her e-learning experience translated to that? And on the slide deck too, you'll see both the emails for both of our alumni too. So if you have other questions or want to ask them what it was like in the program to get more drill down into their perspectives, they have given me their permission to share their emails with you, and are welcoming any questions that you have even after the presentation. So thanks, Stephanie. You're going to stay on for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. So let's talk to Michelle a little bit here. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm really excited that there's so many people here with such an interest. And I'd like to say, Stephanie did graduate 1 year before me, but she wasn't, we all heard about that job that was opening up at the hospital. And let me say, that was a highly coveted position, because one thing I feel like a lot of us really want is to integrate, or more integration with the whole oral systemic link. So that is something we want to advocate for. We want to be represented in the healthcare arena more than just, oh, dental, that's it. So that was a big achievement, I feel like, for us. And she was talking about McLaren, and I have the privilege right now. I've been helping McLaren develop their mobile unit, which is going to integrate their residency program in Macomb with dental hygienists in southeastern Michigan. So that's something we've been working on in development, and it's really exciting to see things like that come together. So sorry, I just wanted to.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. So Michelle, one of the reasons that the insights that I think you bring to this too, in addition to your current position, is I'd like you to talk a little bit about what some of your original motivation was for pursuing your bachelor's degree, and why did you think that U of M would help you fulfill that goal?
So when I went to dental hygiene school, it was a second career for me. So I was in my 30s. I didn't want retail management anymore. That was not the life for me. I landed in dental hygiene, and I loved it. I love helping people. I've grown up volunteering my whole life, so it's something that's a part of me. When I was in my second year, I realized that clinical probably wasn't for me 100%. And there's nothing wrong with being clinical. But I knew for some reason I wanted more. And I thought it had to do with public health. And I really wanted to pursue public health or research. So of course, when you think public health and research, and I heard about the U of M program, I'm like, I got to go blue. I got to try and go blue. And for me, I guess because I was an adult going to college, and I didn't originally think like I could go to U of M. I felt like that was always out of my league for some reason. But with the encouragement of some great faculty, I applied. I started believing in myself even more that I was worth it, when I got in. And it was just a wonderful experience, the whole process. And the funny thing is when I was in the program, of course, I'm like, ooh, public health, because I volunteer every chance I get. And I love working within special populations and communities, and I'm always have this thirst for learning about other cultures and other populations. But I found myself, while in the program, having the opportunity to really explore. They let you explore your passions, and they support you in that exploration. I had a girl in my cohort who loved, and she felt very, very passionate about veterans and their oral health. And she pursued some amazing opportunities because that was her passion. I wanted to start exploring transgender, as Jennifer mentioned, and I wanted to work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And they allowed me to pair with a new agency out on my own and find an organization to work with and develop these plans. So the support I got from U of M faculty was amazing, and it allowed me to really be fully invested and engaged because they supported my passions. And I can say a lot of us had a lot of different passions, as you've seen, all these different paths we've all taken. And I don't know if another school would have given me that opportunity, would have embraced diversity the way that U of M has. So I'm very passionate about Go Blue. I know I have to say fire up chips every once in a while because I went to Central, but I'm so proud of the fact that I can say Go Blue. And while 10 years ago I might have thought it was never possible, now I tell everyone, it doesn't matter. If you have the passion and the heart, that's appreciated, it's recognized, and it was a great experience being able to go through that and have the support I did while doing so.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
And you know, and I do say fire up chips myself because I actually marched for Central for a couple of years for their band, so I'm a Chippewa too. But
Yep.
can you also? I think that's really interesting what you said about the support to explore your passions. Can you describe a little bit how those passions now translate into the real work that you're doing? Because you're doing a number of different things. You don't, you know, you have your hands in so many different pots. You wear a lot of hats. Can you talk a little bit about how those opportunities sort of fostered opportunities outside of the program now 2 years out, 3 years out?
Well, yes, because I got to explore my passions, of course, I was able to network and make connections. So I've gotten to work within mobile dentistry. I've gotten to work in hospital settings, in lockdown Alzheimer's units, Medicaid nursing homes. I've performed prophies while somebody has been intubated or on a stroke victim. I've gotten to do quite amazing things, caring for people that aren't always getting that oral health care that they need. So without the education and the research and the background I was able to really develop at U of M, I don't know if I would have been as comfortable putting myself in those positions. And through the whole process of U of M, and of course that's still my passion, is diversity, and that's the committee I sit on and everything. That's my favorite thing to talk about and to learn about. But I remember when we started the teaching practicum and I was like, oh, I just graduated. Who wants to do that job? I think I still had a little trauma left over from not being able to wrist rock for a full year, so it was sort of painful. But maybe being able to go back to my alma mater and go to OCC and be a part of that teaching program, all of a sudden, like, that was a whole new fire that got lit. And I was like, wait, teaching isn't, the other side of it was so different from being the victim that you feel like sometimes when you're in the educational setting. So it was a great experience, and to work alongside my teachers who were just educating me and them to treat me like a peer, I fell in love with teaching, and I wanted to help facilitate and encourage people's passion the way U of M did. So that was one of my things that I try and take with me every day is I encourage, your passion and following that. But I don't think I would have known I love teaching without having that experience. And it's such a broad experience you get at U of M. They really let you try everything out. So it's been a great experience because of some of those reasons.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, you both, you and Stephanie, have really used this as a launch pad to really, pursue those passions. And that's what I think you commented during one of our earlier conversations about pursuing your passions, because if you don't love what you do, then it's just work, right? But we are all very passionate about dental hygiene, the clinical practice of dental hygiene. And it's exciting to be on have this opportunity in this profession to launch into other things and to take our expertise outside of the clinic. I think that's a really neat opportunity, and it's something we really need. We need leaders, we need educated hygienists with advanced educations to keep this profession going. So thank you both very much for sharing your perspectives. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending the evening with us. That's great. So those who are on the call tonight, please feel free to reach out to these two wonderful individuals. And you can also reach out to me. I have a number of alumni who have agreed to be part of a Talk to an Alumni sort of initiative that we have. So you can talk to, if you have a specific specialty interest, I can usually hook you up with an alumni who's done that or been involved in that, or so our networking here is really sort of national. so we can really hook you up with somebody who's walked the walk that you're interested in walking. So I have a little chat box question here, I see. Yes, you can absolutely get my email. So thank you, Lisa. There it is in the chat box. My wickedly fast fingers. So feel free to reach out to me via email. I really, really try to be responsive in my emails. Hopefully Stephanie and Michelle would support that statement. I try to be responsive.
Sometimes I wonder if you guys ever slept.
They don't.
Yeah, we make it look that way. We do sleep, but we make it kind of look like we don't sometimes, I know. But yeah, I'm very responsive, and we'll answer any questions that you have along the way. If something comes up, don't hesitate to reach out. So thank you very, very much for everyone. Thank you for your time. I know we've gone a little bit over, so I appreciate you guys sticking around. Any questions as we wrap up? Anybody have something that popped up before we sign off for the night?
I do
All right.
want to tell you guys though,
Yes.
even though it's an online program, and because we didn't really talk too much about this, you feel very much a part of a community and a group and a team, and you don't feel like you're separate because you're not on campus. And one of our alumni who's speaking on the next group was really brought that out, and so you guys didn't get to hear from her. So I just wanted to touch on the fact, like, there was a fundraiser at the school and they were selling these beautiful dental hygiene shirts, and they included the e-learning program. So you feel very included, and it is really cool, and you feel a part of the team, and you get to go to graduation if you choose to, and you get to walk across stage with every single dental hygienist, and it can be degree completion. You could have been on the on-campus program, or you you went from start to finish, and you just feel this camaraderie and support. And so when you think about e-learning programs, it is very unique and you will feel inclusive. So I just wanted to tell you all that.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for that. And that's quite a testament, really. I feel good that that was a good experience for you. I know when I went to grad school, and I think Michelle may comment on this too, I did it all online, and it was not a cohort style program. I was able to come in and out and start classes whenever I wanted to. And it was a struggle. I had to work to find classmates to communicate with and to connect with. And only because of my e-learning experience did I know that I even should be. So I made an effort to, connect with my classmates online. So online learning can be a challenge, and it isn't for everyone, but we are facing a world that is going to be online for a while, for the foreseeable future. So this is a medium that you need to get comfortable with, and I think this is a really safe space to do that. You'll have so much support and so many resources to get you up to speed and to make sure that you're feeling connected to the university, and even socially, but also, you're a U of M student, so you get all of the benefits. You get access to the scholarships, access to the financial aid, access to the network, access to the research. You are not seen any differently just because you're an online student. So, yeah.
And I would support that, because 100%. I went to U of M, and yes, it's challenging. And I mean, of course, you're getting a U of M education. It's hard. Sometimes you reflect a lot. I didn't consider myself a strong writer, and there's a lot of writing. So it might be a little investment there. However, after I graduated, and I did go to Central, and my whole program was technology and education, right? However, I'm going to say that structure and that layout was not conducive to being as successful as U of M was. The structure and the consistency across the classes, the communication, and again, that faculty being there for you made it an amazing experience. And I did feel like we had a family. The 10 of us in our cohort, we were a family, and it's a great feeling, and we still connect to this day. And check in with one another. So you get that family experience. You have an amazing platform that's structured to make you successful. So I don't know if a lot of you might be in a program right now where it's all the faculty is switching over. That's traumatic no matter how prepared you are. However, it's tried and true with this program. They've been doing it for years, and they know how to do it. And it does not feel painful. If you guys are having a bad experience with e-learning right now, I guarantee U of M, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, we've had our hand in this online learning thing for a little while now. So, yeah, we started in 2008 with our first cohort coming in. So they were leaders and innovators, my predecessors, in starting this program. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, I agree. I think those are really true insights there, Michelle. Thank you for that. Great, good. Any other questions or comments from anybody? Yes, Samantha, go for it.
Okay, so if you wanted to wait like a year or two, is there like a time limit on our credits? Like, will they ever like expire? I know, like I applied to OCC, and I'm in the OCC program right now, and with like the science classes, there's like a 5-year window.
I have heard that about other institutions. I have not had that experience with U of M. I've had students who have been out of school for 20 or 30 years, and I was still able to take their credits, their dental hygiene credits, and their gen eds. So I have never had a student who was interested in the program that I wasn't able to take their credits because they were expired. So I think there are some issues with that with other institutions, and possibly maybe specific programs where you're taking courses like a science course that's real specific to their needs, and so they want you to have a more current education. And so I'm sure there's rationale for it. It is not the case with me. So absolutely, if you want to wait a year, and I know we only have the fall start time. It's intentional. We do that on purpose so that we have a cohort that progresses through. But waiting a year or two shouldn't be a problem with as far as your credits go, Samantha. Yeah. Yep. So if you're wanting to, if you're wanting to apply for 2021, then you're going to start the application process now. If you're thinking of 2022, then you're going to come talk to me again in October next year. So because you don't want to, your application is only good for that academic year that you're applying for, right? It doesn't keep going. So, yeah. Anybody else? Good. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. So thank you so much for staying on the call a little longer. Really appreciate it. Again, we're all here at the ready to answer questions for you. Don't hesitate to reach out or refer some classmates if they have questions, you know, say, hey, they were very open and honest about asking questions and transparent. So feel free to reach out to them. So, all right, great. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Have
you
a good
for
night.
having us.
Thank you, guys. Stay well, be safe, take care of each other. All right. Bye, guys.